So everybody on bad frustration because I'm really upset with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, his basketball takes are good, but his football takes are So please explain to me why people still feel that Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson should be ahead of Lamar Jackson in the MVP discussion. It makes no sense to me. Lamar Jackson outdueled Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, and the Baltimore Ravens destroyed both of those two candidates' teams by at least two or more touchdowns. The Seattle Seahawks lost by more than two scores, and the Houston Texans got blown the freak out. So I'm not understanding the fact that people still are trying to give Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson the MVP over Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson beat both of those guys and outplayed both of those quarterbacks. He outplayed both of those quarterbacks. So it makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no freaking sense to me. And nobody who is a fan of the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks can give me a legitimate reason why Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson deserve MVP over Lamar Jackson. What had all Lamar Jackson has did was prove doubters wrong and improved. And that was expected under offensive coordinator Greg Roman. I told everybody in the offseason, I made a video about it, about why Lamar Jackson would be a Pro Bowler under Greg Roman. Greg Roman was the former offensive coordinator year the San Francisco 49ers went to the Super Bowl back in 2000 and what was I think it was 2011. Yeah, I think it was 2011. I don't know for sure. I think I forgot, but I want to say it was either 2011 or 2012. He was the offensive coordinator for the 49ers the year Colin Kaepernick took them to the Super Bowl and they lost to the Ravens. Then he also was the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills in 2015. And when he was the offensive coordinator back then, he also made Tyrod Taylor a Pro Bowler. 2013. Thank you, Lane Gooch. I couldn't figure that one out. But it's just weird to me how Stephen A. Smith and nobody wants to give Lamar Jackson the MVP. And I don't really understand why. I don't understand why. It is pretty ridiculous to me about how a guy can go 2-0 versus MVP candidates, beat down both of their teams, outplay both of the quarterbacks in both of those games, and still somehow some way people are still trying to say Russell Wilson deserves MVP. Let me tell you guys something. Lamar Jackson is about to change the NFL. Lamar Jackson has paved the way for guys like Jalen Hurts to get into the NFL. He has paved the way for Colin Kaepernick to get back into the NFL because now the dual threat quarterback is now more revolutionary than anything. Listen, we thought Cam Newton was going to take the lead by storm. There will never be another Cam Newton. But Lamar Jackson has just opened the window for a whole new different breed of quarterbacks. Now everybody wants to listen. In the next 5 years, almost every team in the NFL is going to have a dual threat quarterback that can throw and run. Okay, a lot of people need to get over this pocket passer stuff. All the pocket passers that people mention that win Super Bowls and things like that. Listen, they're about to freaking retire. It's not a lot of pocket passers, efficient pocket passers in the NFL anymore. All of them are older and about to retire. Tom Brady, he's about to retire eventually. He can't play forever. He's about to retire. Drew Brees, he's about to retire. Who else is a pocket passer that's still playing? Matt Ryan, he's about to retire. You got Phillip Rivers. He already needs to retire already. He's done. So I mean, it's not the NFL. You don't need a pocket passer to win in the NFL anymore. And Lamar Jackson is proving that. He's proven that. Roethlisberger might as well hang it up because next year I'm terrified because Mason Rudolph, man, I don't know, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a lot of good pocket passers left in the NFL. When you look at some of these young, dynamic quarterbacks who are eventually going to start taking things over, you got Patrick Mahomes. What can Patrick Mahomes do? He can extend plays and he can run. Now, he's not a crazy athletic runner like a Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson, but he has mobility. He can do a lot of things outside the pocket and in the pocket as well. And Patrick Mahomes, I would consider Patrick Mahomes a dual threat quarterback. I think a dual threat quarterback is somebody who can make you pay with his feet. And that's what Patrick Mahomes is. He's just not as good as a dual threat as Lamar Jackson when it comes to his running ability, but he can make you pay both with his legs and his arm. So you got Patrick Mahomes there. You got Deshaun Watson. You got Russell Wilson. You see, people hate change. People are like so resistant to change. People just don't want to admit when it's time, when a new era is about to begin. Every time something new starts, every time a revolution starts, people want to deny it. It's the same thing with the SEC. People need to face the facts. And college football now is not about defense anymore. The only way you're going to win a national championship is if your offense can put up 50 points in every game, and that's reality of it. If your offense can't put up 50 points in college football, you're not going to the college football playoffs. Okay, people just seem to neglect that fact. They people just are just so crazy, just so resistant to change and revolution. Lamar Jackson is changing the NFL. In the next 3, 4, 5 years, the NFL is going to be completely different. It's only going to be about one or two pocket passers that are still going to be playing. And that's being real. Every team, almost every team in the NFL is going to have some kind of a dual threat quarterback taking snaps behind center. Now I know it runs a lot of injury risk, but that's why you draft another quarterback who can do the same thing that starting quarterback can do, like the Baltimore Ravens have with RG3. If Lamar Jackson goes down, you got RG3 who can go back and do the similar things that Lamar Jackson can do. So I mean, a lot of people are just so resistant to change. People need to understand something. That single year, you never see the same thing in sports twice. Everything is different. Everything is different. So the fact that people keep on saying that Lamar Jackson is an MVP is just beyond me, because the dude has beaten Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, two of his MVP cohorts, head to head, beat both of them respectively, and also they play the Kansas City Chiefs in a couple of weeks. So I mean, if he beats Can, no, that I'm thinking about the New England Patriots. But at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson is the NFL MVP, whether people want to admit it or not. And I don't understand why people are so resistant to change. People just hate Lamar Jackson because he's leading a revolution. Like, people keep on calling him a running back and a wide receiver and crap. I know people just are trolling at this point, but why are people so hesitant to change in sports? What's wrong with the NFL changing from a pocket passer to mobile dual threat quarterbacks? And I don't and I'm not trying to make it about race or anything like that. I know it's a lot more mobile dual threat African American quarterbacks than it is white mobile quarterbacks, but I'm not trying to make it about race. But I know some people going to take it there. But at the end of the day, the NFL is about to change. The NFL is about to change. At this point, Lamar Jackson, it has to be the front runner over Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. He beat both of those two quarterbacks head to head and outplayed both those quarterbacks, and they got dominated. Their teams got absolutely dominated. So the fact, it's crazy how Lamar Jackson beat two MVP candidates, and people are some way somehow still favoring Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson over Lamar Jackson. We saw Deshaun Watson last week. He didn't look good. You see, here's the thing when it comes to Deshaun Watson, right? People give all the praise and glory about what Deshaun Watson can do behind a terrible offensive line, but last week everybody just wants to make excuses for Deshaun Watson, talking about some, oh, his offensive line was terrible, blah blah blah. Listen, keep the same energy. If you're gonna praise a quarterback for what he's able to do with a bad offensive line, aspect that quarterback to have that same performance behind that terrible offensive line week in and week out. If you're gonna praise a quarterback for something, then he should adapt to that. You feel me? So like, if you're gonna praise Deshaun Watson for winning behind a garbage offensive line, then he also needs to get criticism when he loses behind that offensive line. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna praise somebody for doing something, be fair. Don't criticize somebody, or don't try to make somebody look good. You feel me? Like, it makes no sense to me. Deshaun Watson got outplayed by Lamar Jackson. That's point blank. Okay, he got outplayed. Russell Wilson got outplayed by Lamar Jackson. That's simple. Lamar Jackson went 9 of 20 versus Seattle, but he had four incomplete passes that got dropped. So really, he was 13 of 20. You've been hating on the how have I been hating on the Ravens? I chose the Ravens to win almost every game but two. That was against Kansas City, and that was against New England. Every other game I chose Baltimore to win. So I wouldn't call it hating. You Ravens Nation, y'all don't need no doggone apology, man. I chose Baltimore. I don't pick Baltimore to win in almost every prediction I done did this year. I swore I don't chose Baltimore to win every single game but two. That was against Kansas City, I think it was, and New England. That was it. But I mean, wow. I mean, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Almost the majority of the NFL thought Baltimore was going to lose to New England because Bill Belichick never lost to a quarterback under 25. And also, I just didn't have faith in Lamar Jackson. He proved me wrong. So I'll give you an apology for the New England Patriots game. But I really haven't been down the Ravens. I had you guys going 10-6 at the beginning of the season. Now, obviously, you guys surpassed expectations. You guys are probably going to end up going 12-4 or 13-3. But I mean, I had high expectations going into the season. I didn't even say Pittsburgh was going to win the AFC North. My pick to win the AFC North was between the Ravens and the Browns. Now the Browns, we don't know, man. We don't know. But I promise you this. I might not be hating, but I promise you this. If you play New England again, you're not going to beat New England twice. And I put money on that. I put money on that. I'm not hating. I'm just being real. You got to think about it. You got to think about it. You really think Bill Belichick is going to get dominated by the Baltimore Ravens again? Twice? Never. Never. Plus, Baltimore needs that number one home field advantage. You guys got to think. If you guys don't get that number one seed, you're not going to the Super Bowl. You're not going to the Super Bowl. You guys beat New England at Baltimore. You guys beat New England at Baltimore. You didn't go and play New England at New England. Listen, playing at New England versus playing at Baltimore is a different animal, especially in the playoffs. Weird things happen at New England. And plus, you got to deal with the refs being on their side. Not only do you have to beat the Patriots, but you got to beat the men in the striped shirts as well when you play New England on the road in the playoffs. Go look at the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple of years ago. Go look at the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple of years ago. Now, do the Baltimore Ravens have a team that can beat the New England Patriots on the road? Absolutely. But will it happen? I don't know. I don't know. I can't see Bill Belichick losing to Lamar Jackson twice. I have never seen Bill Belichick lose to the same team twice in one season. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think that's ever happened. And I mean, you Baltimore Ravens fans can be mad all you want to. I know my guy NMD TV is upset right now, but he knows that's facts. He knows that's facts. He knows that it's a low chance that Baltimore beats New England again. Again. Okay, I might have doubted you guys the first time, but I have a strong. But if you guys play New England again at Baltimore, I feel confident that Baltimore can win that game. But you have to go on the road and face New England at New England, facing Bill Belichick again after you embarrass him on national television. I don't think that's happening. If the Ravens ain't winning this year, we winning it next year. We got $100 million cap. Ravens can't beat the Pats again, and will be close to the Ravens win MDTV. Sorry, NMDT. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm not being biased. I'm not riding the Patriots or anything. I'm just saying if you gotta face the New England Patriots twice, you're not gonna win. I don't think Bill Belichick has ever lost to the same team twice in one season. Ever. So best believe if he faces Lamar Jackson again, he's gonna have a different game plan than what he had. And then my money's gonna be on the Pats. Now, if that game is at Baltimore, then Baltimore might have a better opinion. No, it's not. It's an opinion, not a fact. So NFD TV, tell me the last time Bill Belichick lost to the same team twice in one season. Twice in one season. I don't think Bill Belichick has ever lost to the same team twice in one season. Especially if the playoffs go through New England. If the playoffs go through New England, you're not going to beat New England on the road in the playoffs. You're not. You have a chance to, but you make it even harder on yourself. You said no way Lamar can beat the Patriots. Okay, that was before. That was before I gave y'all props. But if you think new Bill Belichick is going to lose to the Baltimore Ravens twice in one season, I don't think that's going to happen. Not at New England. It has a better chance of happening. I will feel a lot more confident in Baltimore beating New England twice. But not at New England. Every time the playoffs go, when you look at all the times New England has won the Super Bowl, they had the number one seed. All the years New England didn't go to the Super Bowl, they were not a number one seed. So if you saying that you're going to beat New England, playing New England twice at New England, I think you got to be crazy. You gotta be crazy. Bill Belichick is the greatest head coach of NFL history. History. Bill Belichick and the Baltimore Ravens were not even fully healthy. The New England Patriots weren't even fully healthy. When you guys play New England again, they're gonna have their offensive line fully healthy. Isaiah Wynn, he's gonna be starting at left tackle. So if New England gets the 1 seed, the playoffs go through New England. And trust me, you don't want to have to play New England at New England. Because not only do you have to beat New England, but you got to beat the men in the striped shirts as well. So if you're telling me the Ravens are just that doggone good that they can just blow out New England and not let the game close, because look, if the game's close, the referees are going to affect the outcome of that game. Because a couple of years ago, back in 2017, the Jacksonville Jaguars should have been playing the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. That's just being real. That's just being real. Jacksonville got screwed over in that game. But at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the NFL. He is. It's point blank. It's point blank, period. No reason why Stephen A. Smith and anybody else should still be making cases for Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. Lamar Jackson is the best It's the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL right now, in my opinion. No, the Saints are not. Then the Saints got blown out by the Falcons 2 weeks ago. And the Saints offense can't get no big plays in the passing game for more than 20. They do dump all 20-yard passes. They struggle to throw the ball down the field. New Orleans struggles to throw the ball down the field. So whenever they play a team that's good in the cover 3, the Saints are second, but the Saints are not the second best. I promise you that. The Saints are not the second best. I think the best team that y'all are overlooking right now or the San Francisco 49ers, who you guys are going to end up playing next week. Now, that's a game I'm eager to watch. Jameis the MVP. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know Jameis the MVP. Yes, sir. Say it loud, MDTV, for the guys in the back. Jameis Winston is being effed over by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is. He is. And if you disagree with me, then I think you need to go back and watch Tampa play. Because this man, Jameis Winston, is getting absolutely killed back there. Jameis Winston would be the NFL MVP right now if he had a legitimate offensive line. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. I know Jameis Winston is a turnover machine, but so is Dan Marino, so is Brett Favre, and so is Eli Manning. And Eli Manning threw like 18 interceptions one season, and they still won the Super Bowl. So I mean, now my guy Jameis Winston is getting killed back there. He's getting set up to fail. Listen, Jameis Winston was playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Pittsburgh will have a winning record. Pittsburgh have a winning record right now if we had Jameis Winston as our quarterback and not Mason Rudolph. And that's just being real. Pittsburgh would be right behind the Baltimore Ravens right now. We had Jameis Winston as our quarterback. Behind our offensive line, with the wide receiver core that we have, although Juju has underplayed, but I mean, Mason Rudolph can't give him the ball down the field deep because we're not taking those shots deep. But at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league, and it makes no sense why guys like Stephen A. Smith are still trying to say Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson are ahead of him when he's beating both of those guys head to head. And if he beats the 49ers next week, then he most definitely has to win the NFL MVP at that point. You see, a lot of people hate change in the NFL. They hate and that's just people in general. Every time something in society shifts towards something new, it's like rap music. The old people hate the new generation. They still talk about how great the 90s was and things like that. Listen, a lot of these new rappers are trash, but not everybody's trash. People hate change. People are just strict and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not the 90s anymore. It's not the 90s anymore. You don't need a pocket quarterback or pocket passer to win a Super Bowl anymore. Well, I think Russell Wilson proved that. I think Cam Newton proved that. Although he didn't win the Super Bowl, he got Carolina to the Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick. So, I mean, Lamar Jackson is about to change the NFL. In the next 5 years, it's going to be a lot more mobile quarterbacks. Didn't people say Brady and Wilson were the MVP over Mahomes? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. No, nobody wanted to give Patrick Mahomes the MVP for some reason last year until he ended up going crazy in that second half. But I mean, people tried to say he wasn't the MVP because of how they lost to New England and things like that. People tried to say he wasn't the MVP for things that wasn't his fault. The defense just choked the games. But I mean, if we're being real, the team that has the best chance to stop New England, I think the only team that has a chance of keeping New England out of the Super Bowl is probably the Baltimore Ravens. Because I don't trust anybody else in the AFC. Definitely don't trust Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can't even put up no points to save their life. I definitely don't trust who else in the AFC? I don't trust Kansas City. Not with that defense. Not with that defense. And I don't trust Andy Reid. So I mean, if I had a team that I had to bet my life on to say to give a chance to beat them, I would choose the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo. Listen, as long as Josh Allen is the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, I would never, ever, ever trust Buffalo after how they disappointed me a couple of weeks ago. Buffalo let me down. Buffalo let me down. Big time. Although they would have won that game if it wasn't for that special teams touchdown, Josh Allen, I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust Josh Allen. What's your score prediction for Saints 49ers? I say 49ers win the game 31 to. No, I won't say 31. No, I'm not going to say 31. I think I think the 49ers will win. I think the 49ers will win 24-20. And the reason why I think the 49ers, I don't know. I think the Saints could beat the 49ers as well. Here's why the Saints could beat the 49ers, because the Saints are one of the best teams in the NFL when it comes to stopping the run. So I could see the Saints winning that game. I'm not going to be mad at you for saying that. I agree, my Titans aren't doing nothing once they make the playoffs. The Titans are not making the playoffs. Stop it. Stop it. The Titans are not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. They are not going to make it to the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's not happening. You're going to go 9-7 once again. Patriots versus 49ers still your pick? Yes, it is. And I stand by it. Kyle Shanahan's the best coach in the NFC right now. And the New England Patriots are, yeah. The Saints, bro, listen. Here's why I would never choose the Saints to ever. Here's my thing with the Saints. The Saints, when you need their defense to step up and get a stop, they fold. Every time the Saints are in the full quarter of a playoff game, they fold. They fold like paper on water. They fold every single time. Every single year, they find a way to lose in the playoffs. Every time. They lost versus the Rams, okay, they got screwed. But I mean, at the end of the day, Drew Brees still threw an interception. Just now finding this out. What's your opinion on the Vikings? Listen, if there's one team in the NFC that I don't want to play in the playoffs in the wild card, it's the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are a scary team right now. I think the Minnesota Vikings are the most talented. I don't want to play the Minnesota Vikings. If I'm any team in the playoffs, I think the Minnesota Vikings have the most talented roster than any team in the NFC. I mean, and how can they got Adam Thielen, they got Stephon Diggs, that's a top five wide receiving core. Both of those guys going to be Pro Bowlers. You got Dalvin Cook, who's also an MVP candidate. You got Kirk Cousins, who has finally played like he's worth $88 million guaranteed. And that defense, I mean, we don't even need to talk about how good the defense is. So I wouldn't want to play Minnesota if I was in the playoffs. You trust Cousins? I do trust Kirk Cousins. And it's not Kirk Cousins, it's because the Minnesota Vikings can actually run the football effectively. That's why I would trust Minnesota. It's not really Kirk Cousins. I just trust Dalvin Cook. Let's see. Titans better not go 9-7, miss the playoffs again. I'd rather take 9-7 or 7-9. The Titans are not making it to the playoffs. I'm sorry to tell you that, but Tennessee is gonna fold. Tennessee is gonna fold down the stretch. I'm just telling you right now. And then plus, when you look at how close the AFC South is right now, I have even a hard time believing that that two teams are going to get in. Not sports related, but that JT Sports logo I made you Twitter, I could hit you up with a full channel art for free. I do that for me, regular analytics. I'll shout you out too, man. I'm actually finna use that logo for something as well. We might beat Houston twice. I don't know. I don't think you guys are gonna beat Houston twice, man. I don't know. Because look, a couple of weeks ago, what what did I tell you a couple of weeks ago? I told you What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? I said something about your offense. I forgot what game it was. But I mean, the AFC is only going to have. I don't see three teams from the AFC getting in. The sixth seed is between Pittsburgh and Oakland. Those two teams are going to be jockeying it out. Pittsburgh and Oakland are fighting for that sixth seed right now. Oakland has that sixth seed right now, but they play Kansas City, and Oakland has a little bit of a favorable schedule than what Pittsburgh has, because Pittsburgh still has to play Buffalo to close out. That's going to be a tough game. Then Pittsburgh also has to play Arizona as well, which is another game I'm afraid of as well, because Pittsburgh can't score. Pittsburgh can't get anything on offense. So Pittsburgh, we might end up losing to Arizona because we can't do anything on offense. So I mean Pittsburgh, yeah, I only see two getting in. Texans are about to fold like a cheap tent. I don't know. I trust the Texans a lot more than I trust Tennessee. If we're just being real. Here's the thing. Tennessee will show up versus great. Tennessee will show up versus one of the best teams in the NFL, beat a team like Kansas City, but lose to the Cleveland Browns one week, or lose to a sorry team, lose to the Dolphins or somebody like that. The Tennessee Titans fold the trash teams for some reason, but they played a great team. So I don't know what's up with that. But that's always been something with Tennessee. But I don't see Tennessee making it to the playoffs. Eagles is the only team I trust that's 5-5 in the NFC. And listen, I don't trust no team in the NFC that's not. Listen, the NFC playoff picture is already basically decided. Okay, if you're a fan of anybody else in the NFC, just give up. The Eagles are the only team in the NFC that has a chance of getting into the playoffs just because of Dallas, and the only reason they can get into the playoffs is because of winning the division. They're only one game back of Dallas. But I mean, if you're a Bears fan, a Lions fan, a Panthers fan, or whatever, and your team is not in the NFC playoffs as of right now, you might as well give up because Minnesota is 8-3, Seattle is 8-2. Unless one of those teams has like a big collapse, which I doubt will happen, you're not getting in. So if you don't have 8 wins at this point, you're not going to the playoffs in the NFC. The NFC playoff picture is already decided, and the NFC is just a matter of the seeding. You're done, man, because nobody in the NFC is gonna fold. Nobody's gonna fold. So I mean, the NFC is already done, really. Rams are 5-5, right? The Rams are done. The Rams season are done. They're not going to the playoffs neither. No way they go to the playoffs unless the Seattle Seahawks, or the Minnesota Vikings fold or somebody folds. That's the only way the Rams get in. But the Rams can't get in over Dallas because that 4 seed that Dallas has right now isn't because of the record. That's because of the division. Because you guys got to remember, the four teams get automatic entry into the playoffs if they win the division. So the reason why Dallas is the 4 seed in the NFC right now is because of their record. It's because they have the best record in the division, not overall record. If we were doing it by overall record, then Dallas would probably be the 6 seed or something like that. But the Eagles are the only team in the NFC that's outside looking into the playoff hunt right now that still has a chance to get in because they have a chance of winning their division. Unless the Rams somehow find a way to get back into it and a team like Seattle or the 49ers fold down the stretch, that's the only way they get in. But I mean, I don't see Minnesota folding. I don't see nobody in the NFC fold. Like, if you look at the playoff picture, right? It's just so big of a gap between the teams that's in the playoffs right now for the NFC and the teams that's on the outside looking in. The teams on the outside looking in, like the Rams, the Eagles, they're 5-5, like 5-4. And the team that's in the playoffs, probably the team that has the worst record right now, that's in the playoffs right now, not strictly because of the division, is the Minnesota Vikings, and they're 8-3 right now. So, I mean, it's just a big gap. So I mean, if you're in the NFC and you're not in the playoffs right now, you're not getting in. If the Pats play in the NFC, I would love that. Oh yeah, cause they would just dominate the NFC. You listen, if you're Bill Belichick and you had to play in the NFC and you had to play against Jason Garrett every year, you would just be laughing. You would just be absolutely laughing. You would be absolutely laughing. That Dallas Cowboys game versus New England Patriots game, though, is still the game of the year, though. Regardless of the Ravens, the 49ers, Dallas versus New England is the game of the year. Still in my book. That's the game I had circled on my calendar before the start of this season. Yeah. But actually, what time is it? So it's 950, guys. Super chat is on if you guys want to donate to the channel. But Ravens won the Ramsey Rams Peterson trade. I don't know. I don't know. Jalen Ramsey has been what the Rams needed. Jalen Ramsey has been what the Rams needed, but the Rams don't have a draft pick. And I think what the Rams should have did instead of trying to get a cornerback, they should have focused on the offensive line. Because the Rams team is not built on defense. The defense was going to be average regardless, and the defense still is average. So I think what they should have did, they should have put more emphasis on trying to get some offensive linemen versus trying to fix the defense. Because the defense is going to be average regardless. So yeah, I say the Ravens won that trade. I think the Rams should have tried to trade for a guy like a Trent Williams or somebody like that to help that offensive line out instead of just going for defensive players. Because at the end of the day, the Rams defense was is still average regardless. It's still average regardless. So it doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter what happens. That defense still is going to be average. The Rams are not making the playoffs. I'm a Saints fan. You know I'm glad. You know I'm glad about that. Yeah, unless a team folds or somebody like that, and I don't see nobody in the NFC really folding. If you're not in the playoffs picture right now in the NFC and you're on the outside looking in, unless you're the Eagles, you're not getting in. But before I end this live stream, I just want to say that Lamar Jackson is the MVP. He's the MVP. Okay, it's no debate. He beat Seattle. He beat Russell Wilson head to head. He beat Houston. He beat Deshaun Watson head to head. You got to give him props. He beat two MVP candidates. He's the MVP. Simple. So you gotta stay tuned. I'm about to drop the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers video. I actually should have dropped it a couple of minutes ago, but I was on live and I need to get ready to go to bed. So you guys stay tuned for that one. I might try to make another video before I go to bed, but I don't know, it's gonna be a little bit past 7 or a little bit past 11. I gotta make sure I'm gotta make sure I go to sleep on time so I don't be falling asleep during my classes tomorrow during school. But yeah, man. So Lamar winning so much they gonna call him Amar because he ain't taking no L's. Yeah, Lamar clearly the MVP this year. But yeah, man. But who do you guys? My last question is, who do you guys think is Coach of the Year? It's going to be interesting. If the 49ers make it to the playoffs, would you make Kyle Shanahan Coach of the Year, or would you make John Gruden Coach of the Year? Because a lot of people aren't really talking about the Oakland Raiders like that, and they're not really talking about Oakland. They're not really talking about John Gruden and the job that he's done with Oakland. Because a lot of people. It's a strong case because you got to think the 49ers. Harbaugh, if he wins these next four games, I wouldn't put Harbaugh in that conversation. Harbaugh's being carried by Lamar. I wouldn't make Harbaugh head coach of the year. I think what's keeping the Baltimore Ravens afloat is Greg Roman's offense, his play calling, and Lamar Jackson. I think that's what's keeping Harbaugh afloat. Lamar Jackson really saved his job. Think about it, Miss Sandy. Think about it, right? Before Lamar Jackson became the starter of the Baltimore Ravens last year, the Baltimore Ravens were like 4-5 or something like that. Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson are the only quarterbacks in the AFC that's still responsible for keeping their jobs alive. So I mean, Greg Roman has. I think Greg Roman deserves a little bit more praise than John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh has made a couple of big fourth down calls and things like that, but I think most of his success this season has been contributed to Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson. All off season it was Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Nobody, I don't think a lot of people sleeping on. I wasn't sleeping on Baltimore, but at the end of the day, I'm not saying. Listen, I'm just saying that I don't think Harbaugh will win it. Harbaugh would be far exactly. Listen, I think Greg Roman is contributing to more of the success of the Baltimore Ravens than John Harbaugh. And that might sound crazy or whatnot, but I think that's the truth because look what Greg Roman has done for Lamar Jackson and that offense. That offense is unstoppable. It's unstoppable. And think about what the Baltimore Ravens offense was before he got there over the last couple of seasons. He knows how to use them. So I think most of Harbaugh's success comes from Greg Roman. But he definitely will be a finalist for Coach of the Year. But I wouldn't choose him to win it. Because look, the Baltimore Ravens went to the playoffs last year. You feel me? So I mean, they'll be back in the playoffs. They'll be a little bit better. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think what John Gruden and Kyle Shanahan has been more impressive. I think it's been a little bit more impressive because Kyle Shanahan, you got to think the 49ers only, how many games did the 49ers win last year? Didn't they go like 5-11, 4-12 or something like that? Think about the Oakland Raiders. How many people had the Oakland Raiders being 6-4 at this point in the season? Not me. Not me. I didn't see that. I didn't see Oakland going 6-4. I didn't see that. I didn't see Oakland being up there with Kansas City to win the AFC West. So I think Coach of the Year, most of the time, Coach of the Year goes to the coach that has the best turnaround. You don't normally see a coach that went to the playoffs last year and went to the playoffs again with a better record ends up winning it most of the time. So I mean, the John Gruden and Kyle Shanahan probably are going to be the two front runners. I appreciate the donation, Dreadlock. He might get the head coaching job in Detroit. I don't think Detroit is getting rid of Matt Patricia. Not just yet. Not without Stafford. I think that would be unfair. I think that would be unfair. Appreciate the donation again, Dreadlock. I thought the Raiders would be 7-9 and the 49ers being 8-8 at the end of the season. Now you see, I tried to tell everybody in the offseason the 49ers were going to be a doggone good team. And what did everybody say? Everybody kept on saying, oh, you're D-Rod and the 49ers. They're overrated. What has the 49ers proved? What has the 49ers did? Blah, blah, blah. Jimmy Garoppolo overrated. Everybody's overrated. Everybody said I was overrating the 49ers. And now look. You see, I had Detroit going 8-8. I had Oakland going 6-10. So, I mean, I wasn't expecting Oakland to be 6-4 right now. But I mean, I told everybody in the off season that the big part of the 49ers was going to be their freaking their run game and how good their defense is. But a guy who I think is going to get a lot of attention is the 49ers defensive coordinator. Detroit's in such a competitive. Exactly. If you put Detroit in a division like the AFC South, I would choose Detroit to win if they were playing in the AFC South. And they were playing in any division but the NFC North. I think they would go a lot better. Even if they were playing in the NFC East, I think they would be any other division but the division they're playing in right now. Because I mean, you got to think the NFC North has two of the best teams in all of football right now. You got the Green Bay Packers and you got the Minnesota Vikings both in that division. So I mean, that's why I said Detroit was going to go 8-8 this year. Detroit Lions fans felt they had a good team, but I was just telling everybody like the AFC North is just so good. I told everybody the Packers were going to be good. Detroit Lions fans thought I was overrating the Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. So and I told Detroit Lions I used to go on Detroit Lions live streams and used to call in and tell them that Green Bay and Minnesota were going to be the two teams that end up leading that division. So most of the time, I'm not really that wrong. The three things I was wrong about in the offseason, one was the Atlanta Falcons. I thought the Atlanta Falcons were going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. Now they're starting to win games, so they might go 9-7 or something like that, but I doubt it. But I was wrong about the Atlanta Falcons. I was wrong about the Oakland Raiders, and I was wrong about the Cleveland Browns. Although it's not too late for the Cleveland Browns just yet, but I mean I was wrong about them. But I told everybody the 49ers were going to, everything I said in the offseason about Lamar Jackson, the 49ers, easy trash. The 49ers got an easy trash schedule. What? They don't beat three playoff teams. They blew the doors out of the LA Rams. They made the LA Rams do a mid-season rebuild, and they beat the Panthers. So how's their schedule easy? They're not finna lose no everybody? What? It sounds like you might be hating. You might be hating. 49ers fans were asking for Saleh RD to be fired before this year. Yeah, y'all tripping. If y'all think that's the best team in the NFC. That's the best team in the NFC. Stop it. Stop it. That's the best team in the NFC. That is the best team in the NFC. Nick Bosa is the first rookie in NFL history. What's up, boys from the D? The first rookie in NFL history to ever have a chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year in his first year playing. So y'all tripping if y'all think the 49ers schedule is easy. That how the Seahawks beat them in their own home. That's a divisional game. That's a divisional game. What you expect? It's a divisional game. It is a divisional game. And they lost because their kicker missed a field goal. It's a divisional game. What you expecting? You gotta understand something. When you're playing a team in the division, of course you have a chance to beat. Listen, the 49ers were not going to sweep Seattle. That was just being real honest. And they're not going to sweep the Rams neither. So the Seattle Seahawks are a good team. They're 8-2 right now. They're 8-2 right now. What are your favorite teams and players to watch? I don't have no favorite teams. I root for Pittsburgh and that's it. I think probably if I could go back and redo my YouTube, I think the biggest mistake I probably had was telling everybody I was a Steelers fan. To be honest, it's not because I don't like Pittsburgh and we haven't been that good. It's just because like every time I do a video or something like that, everybody thinks I'm being biased and things like that. And I think if I could take things back, I probably wouldn't have let people know I was a Steelers fan. I probably would have kept it close so everybody doesn't think I'm being biased when I choose Pittsburgh to win or when I choose Pittsburgh to lose or something like that. The comments just get aggravating. I rather prefer people not to know what team I was a fan on. So yeah, so if that's something I could take back, letting YouTube know I was a Steelers fan was probably something I'll take back because now everybody thinks I'm a homer and things like that. Every time I choose Pittsburgh to lose, and then if I choose Pittsburgh to lose, or I'm a fake fan and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. That's probably the biggest thing I probably done did on YouTube. So I'll never. So the next couple of years, hopefully, people forget that I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So then people can just assume I'm a fan of teams and things like that. People won't be calling me a homer and things like that. That it gets really aggravating. Really aggravating. I'm a Chargers fan, which is sad this year. Yeah, the Chargers were going. I wasn't expecting the Chargers to be that bad. No, the Rams star Ramsey was going to bail them out. The offensive line should have been the biggest concern. They were too concerned about the doggone defense. Why the Cowboys going to lose by at least 2 touchdowns? But still, it's an interesting matchup. It's always interesting. Yeah, just there's a goat. I'm going to look into making that banner for any ideas. I'm all ears. Appreciate that regular analytics. Yes, Ravens won that. The Rams are not making the playoffs. I'm a Saints fan. Oh, these old stuff. Did somebody just send another super chat? Nope. I'm trying to find the NFC is crazy. Because of the Raiders' harder schedule, I feel Gruden should be coach of the year. Rep your squad. People going yap regard. Yeah, I feel that, Jesse Earbanks. Oh yeah, definitely. We haven't had a hard schedule to this point, but next 3 games percentage with an 800 plus winning percentage. The 49ers the Lions need a new D coordinator. The Lions defensive coordinator is Matt Patricia. Now he has taken over the play calling. So that means he's feeling some pressure. Anytime a coach decides to take over play calling, that means their job is under pressure. That that means their job isn't set in stone. Add up all the records of the teams the 49ers have played and the Raiders have got. Yeah, you can do that, but name a good team that Oakland has beat this year. The last time I checked, Oakland has lost to the couple of good teams they played. Name a couple of good teams the Raiders have beaten this year. They lost to Houston. I remember that one off the top of my head. Name a good team Oakland has beat. To the second half of the season. All right. All right. Well, as a Steelers fan, I'm gonna be rooting for the Raiders to lose those games. Cause we need y'all to lose so we can get into the playoffs. And also we need the AFC South to just have a whole bunch of ties and things like that. Cause the AFC South is gonna be a thorn in the thigh for the Steelers to make the playoffs. Especially the Tennessee Titans, because they know how to beat good teams. They will. They did blow out the Packers. I'll give them that. They blew out the Pack. Oh yeah, they did blow out the Packers. Yeah, they did blow the doors off the Packers earlier. Yeah. I can trigger you. You can't trigger me. It's nothing on YouTube that gets me upset no more. Probably when I first started doing YouTube around a year ago or something like that, you might have been able to trigger me because I didn't know how to respond to criticism. But nothing on YouTube triggers me anymore. I barely read comments. I barely read comments. You can't trigger me no more. Juju fumble and the Saints Super Bowl dome. That doesn't trigger me. Who have the 49? They good. Don't say injured Gurley Rams trash Panthers. I mean they have winning records, so I mean what you want me to say? What you want me to say? So I mean, you listen, like everybody, nobody wants to give credit when credit is due. Like the 49ers are 9-1 for a reason. Record reflects everything in the NFL. In college football, your record most of the time your record in college football doesn't reflect how good of a team you is. Texas A&M is 6-4 right now. If they played the same schedule Clemson has played, they'll be undefeated. Your record in the NFL reflects how good you are as a team. Now, being 9-1 as a team being 9-1 isn't a fluke. In the NFL, your record isn't a fluke. In college football, your record is a fluke. But in the NFL, your record's not a fluke. If you're 9-1, you're a doggone good team. That people try to say the same thing to the New England Patriots. It's not a fluke that the New England Patriots are the best team in the AFC. It's not a fluke. Well, the Ravens are now, but it's not a fluke that the Baltimore Ravens are 8-2. It's not a fluke that the New England Patriots are 9-1. Being 9-1, whatever your record is a reflection of how good of a team you are. If you're an 0-6 team, you're a bad team. If you're 10-0, you're undefeated, you're a good team. If you're 9-1, you're a good team. Your record is a reflection of how good of a team you are in the NFL. The Pats need a harder. The Pats just beat the Eagles. Listen, the Patriots have been winning. The Patriots have been winning for years, years, years. I just apologize for that, Wisdom 7. I just apologize for that, Wisdom 7. I just apologize for that. I forgot y'all blew out the Packers a couple of weeks ago. I gave y'all that. Look at just the record, watch the game. Even just a little can change your opinion about some teams, whether good or bad. Yeah, I understand that too, but most of the time, your record is a reflection of how good your team is. Most of the teams that end up having the best records in their division, like the 15-1 teams, mostly end up going to the Super Bowl. I'm not talking about the Packers. But I think overall, I think the 49ers are going to make it to the Super Bowl because they got the best coaching staff in the NFC. And you can't trust the Saints defense for anything. Just look at the Minnesota Miracle. What's that? Yeah, you can't trust the Saints defense in the playoff. You just can't. In the fourth quarter, game of the line, you can never ever trust the Saints. Look at the Minnesota Miracle. Pennywise, you know I'm right, Pennywise. That when can you ever trust the New Orleans Saints defense in the playoffs to get a stop when it matters the most? They fold every time, every time. Like, all Marcus Williams had to do was just tackle the man by the legs. You can't trust the Saints defense. For your prediction for 49ers versus Packers? I don't know yet, MXND. You got to wait till I drop the video. I'm at. Oh, you guys got me on. I was this video. You guys about to see. That's the video I'm about to release in a couple of minutes. But thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Green Bay Packers versus 49ers preview and prediction come out in like a couple of minutes. Give me like 15, 20 minutes, and it will be out.